everyone. I just want to apologize in advance for the format of this video. It is very unconventional and all over the place, and even my train of thought was not quite on par, but I just figured I'd get something out since it's been a little bit with actual content. It's not quite edited, but you know what? I don't want to take too much away from the creators. I will put in at the end of this video Trigger Smart's short form video, and I will also repost on a separate video the video call with Candace that she had with everyone. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy this, even though I am struggling to form words and sentences throughout it. It's been a very busy and chaotic time over the holidays, so Happy New Year's, everyone. I don't know if I had said on my video that I put up, or if it's in a scrapped video, but I wanted to point out, and thankfully Candace did on the video call with everyone, that she never mentioned that when in the initial report about Mitch's claims, never mentioned Erica's name or even a description. And the fact that she went out the very next day with her stop campaign is why we're here, or why we are here where we are now, going down this rabbit hole. And I even said about Valhalla's emotional cloudiness and his judgment being clouded, and holy God. And I also want to, my purpose of this real quick is I'm going to be putting on Trigger Smart's quick debunking of the frangable round, because I mean, we're already past a bullet. It's so let's thank you, Trigger Smart, for putting that to rest. Let's continue the good work, because clearly it's an explosive. And man, oh man, we got him on the ropes, guys. We got him on the ropes. And I just wanted to put this out there before I watched Baron's episode. I missed it live. I'm with family, but I'm gonna go watch that now, and I'll be back with you guys tomorrow with something. All right. So have a good night. Stay free, everyone. All right. I forgot to post the video that was in the beginning of this one last night, but I'm just gonna put them together because I did end up watching Baron Coleman's episode this morning. I fell asleep last night, that's why I didn't get to edit everything in and post it. But there's a lot. And like I had said at the beginning of this, I'm just going to piggyback off of it with Candace never said on their initial video, not even a description of the woman. It was the perfect bait that was taken by who is implemented. Her alibi was given to Andrew Colvett, allegedly. Another way to blame him. So let me backtrack a second. Baron said it amazingly. It's better to get caught with a shitty alibi than going on the record absolutely denying something because you don't know what they got. And if they come out with evidence or a picture that you were there and now you're on the record lying, everything you say is up for scrutiny. But if you put out a alibi that really doesn't explain for the day that's not even the day that they're asking about, with text messages about getting dinner or making dinner for Charlie, could easily just be it was actually to Cabot Phillips, maybe. The fact that Cabot Phillips is now possibly the person that was with Erica at the hotel is even more questionable. And the fact that Cabot Phillips is then seen at Fort Huachuca the next day at that meeting. So you got Andrew Kolvek, again, being the scapegoat. So God forbid that's 100% disapproved, with a picture or video footage from the hotel. And now Andrew Kolvek is on the chopping block again. And like I said earlier in the first clip, you've got Trigger Smart, who put the whole frangible round theory to bed, and for 2 ways. And if they want to get smart, they better drop it quick, for 2 reasons. One, he is shooting a smaller round, and you see the damage, and that 100% goes through and through, and still leaves a pretty sizable exit wound. But you also have the fact that you can't get the round. And we already know that the only people that really can easily get the round is law enforcement or military. So that would implement, if that was the case, which we all know without a shadow of a doubt, he wasn't shot. End of story, wrapped up, goodbye. But if you want to keep running with that, you're going to have to explain how he got a round that is only mostly accessible to military or law enforcement. That would implement a conspiracy, because he is not getting a fucking frangible round from his grandfather, an old round, and he's not going buying one since they're not easy to buy. So that means it was given to him by someone who can get it issued to them. So if I were you, and this is speaking to people that are running with it, or the FBI, or anybody that's pushing the FedSlop narrative, have to explain how the fuck he got a 30-06 frangible round. So with that being said, we've got Tyler Robinson, who I don't 100% believe he's not involved at all, but clearly he wasn't on the fucking roof, and if he was, he didn't shoot. So let's put the gun shit to bed. And the fact that we have a prosecution and his lawyers not motioning to even bring up the fact that there is, hundreds of people investigating this with absolute certainty that there was no round shot, there's no round in his neck, no round went into his neck. So let's go forth from that. And on top of that, even if you... Hold on. I also want to go back to the whole Candace thing. Not Candace, I'm sorry, Erica. You are seen with your ex-boyfriend, who now being pushed onto TPUSA. He does not have an alibi, at least so far, but he is fairly often on his show, but from the time period of September 4th to the 11th is absolutely absent. And no alibi given forward. You got Harpool's alibi, which is retarded because, for one, his alibi is just a picture of a purchased plane ticket in Texas. Well, that flight that we believe that he may or may not be on, or may be on, stops in Texas after said meeting. So, did you go to the meeting, fly from the meeting direct to El Paso and then get on your flight that you booked? Or did you switch for a later time just to make sure you make your flight? Mitch also, with the video call and everything with Candace, Mitch getting contacted by Gary and Nate from Valhalla, I feel if Nate didn't get the call and isn't completely compromised at this point, whether it's actual compromise or being compromised from the fact that his emotions are getting the best of him because of whether Mitch was not an abuser or anything like that. And I'm not defending, and I'm going to get into that. But maybe Nate, when he looked into Hatuka and him being a Green Beret, contacted someone that he's friends with, and someone that he's friends with told him, someone close to him that he may served with, said, "Bud, drop this. Keep investigating, but drop this." That's quite possible too. Now, I want to sidestep for a second, because I did just finish watching Barons, with the exception of the Supers, which I'll go back and watch in a few, but I wanted to get to the core when he crashed out over that viewer. I have kids, and my daughter had an issue at school lately. Recently with friends, and it's drama and this and that, and she is upset because she believes that she is right in the situation that she has with her friends, and her friend also believes that she's right, and they can't see eye to eye, and the surrounding friends keep going back and forth, and they're trying to explain to this one, and they're trying to explain to my daughter, but my daughter is feeling so strong that her feelings are correct and that she's not in the wrong. And I had to explain to her that they are both right and they are both wrong, and that two different things can be right at the same time. Her feelings are 100% valid, but she has to understand that her other friends' feelings are 100% valid as well. Basic logic. Mitch may very well be a scam artist or an abusive husband or a bad father, whatever the case may be. May be the case. There's also, he has put forward that he has his own issues, and he did try to fight for custody and whatever. I feel like his personal life is irrelevant to the case. And yes, it would be nice to have him as a solid, credible witness with testimony in the court case, to when it comes down to
convicting who is really involved in this. But if he can't, at least we can use this to investigate. I want to backtrack to what I had said the other night. When a crime is committed in hell, the witnesses will not be angels. Or at least, I mean, yes, fallen angels, but will not be angels. And not even just that, just because he's a bad guy does not mean he did not see what he saw. Everything else outside of seeing who he saw has been verified. He was there that day. He was a Green Beret. He was on base. He was at that building. He was arrested. He was detained because he wasn't where he was supposed to be. His son was contacted to verify who he was. The only other thing was we have two shitty alibis. One missing from Cabot Phillips. I'm sorry, 3 shitty alibis. One of them is alright, the one with the senator, but it's not quite. All 4, at least to mine, Barron's, most of our knowledge, have not gone on the record 100% denying the fact that they were there. So, with anybody with legal expertise or being advised by someone with legal expertise, will tell them, if you were there, do not deny and go on the record denying, because what happens is now you are discredited, and anything and everything you say to help your case is thrown out the window because now you are on the record lying. So you throw an alibi that may or may not disprove, but it's just something out there. It's a half truth. And this whole case, down to the narrative and Harpool's interview and everybody going on record, are half-truths. They are holding back truth. They are twisting the truth to help fit the narrative. And their lies are only speculative. They are being guided by people that are smart enough to help guide them. They are only going on these press tours and records and everything as such well after, which gives them ample time enough to talk to professionals. Now, I also want to touch that before all of this, before the whole Kirk thing, I've had my issues with Valhalla and the way he does things. I don't agree with him 100% politically, but that's all right. We live in the space, and I at least live logically enough, that just because I don't agree with someone doesn't mean I have to hate them, doesn't mean I can't talk to them, or agree with some things. That's just human nature. We're not going to agree. We're all from different backgrounds, and that's fine. But my issue with Valhalla, which I held off on saying, was the way he conducted everything. He went online, whether he knew or didn't know that Candace was on break, with a threat instead of trying to contact her. I mean, there is now proof that he tried to contact her, but through Ian, and it was a threat itself. And that he went on he called Ian and had Ian contact Candace, saying that if she doesn't reach out to him, he's going to throw Mitch to the wolves and she's going to go down with him. That's horseshit. And Candace went on and said that she talked to Mitch. The money wasn't because he was trying to con her. He didn't even ask for money. She did that because she knows that if he is a credible source, that they are going to try to tear him apart. They are trying to tear everybody down. They're digging into everybody. That's what they do. It's a disinformation or a discrediting campaign. They do this. And when they do these things, that is the biggest evidence that you should continue to dig. And anybody that's pushing any type of narrative to fucking tear down someone, you should be fucking scrutinized. I can't think of weary, for the lack of better words, of them. And apparently, before Mitch even reached out to Candace, or Mitch's person reached out to Candace, he reached out to Valhalla to begin all this. And commented on one of Valhalla's posts that he had something to talk about. And hold on, I'm looking at my notes. It is crazy notes. Because I just write things down at random when I think about them, and when I have enough, I try to make a video. I'm just trying to see, because it is all over the place, and I know I should probably organize a little bit better. I also wanted to bring up about Harrison Smith, about how he tweeted a couple of weeks prior to Kirk's assassination. So this is preceding Kirk texting Andrew Kovac and others about his fear for his life. He said he was contacted by someone that said that there was a credible threat on Charlie's life. This is a couple of weeks prior. That should go to show it is no longer irrelevant. It's not just a fear. It's a credible fear. He probably knew, with the evidence that he has been coming at, I mean, the Doge, and he wanted to do the financial audit, the fact that he's flipping on people and starting to separate himself from people. He was clearly waking up to the fact that he was surrounded by people that he could not trust. And he was trying to secretly reach out to the people that he thought he could trust to get help. And when you're surrounded by the enemy, you're not going to go to the enemy and tell them that you're scared for your life. You need to reach out to get him out of there. If he was afraid that his security team may or may not have been in on it, that is dangerous. If he felt like his security was compromised and the people that are around him were compromised, and he's reaching out trying to get someone to give him a hand to get him out of that situation, that's important. And there was the release of court documents that was talking about how there's people in the prosecution that had a kid, or someone from the prosecution, that probably someone at the top of the prosecutor's office, or in the case at least, that their kid was there, and that's probably a big push to convict whoever may be involved. And I honestly need to go back and check all the names of the people that were Googled with those Google trends, because if the prosecutors were Googled and it was found out their kids are, conservatives, or go to that school, or live in the area, and that may or may not have been there to emotionally control the narrative, because everything else has been proven that the narrative has been controlled from the beginning before the event even took place, that's big as well. So not only is it important to, yes, maybe get rid of the people that are trying to prosecute and bring someone else in that's not emotionally tied to this, but it is also worth looking into whether or not that was on purpose. Because we all know a lot of this is a psyop. A lot of this was psychologically controlled. From down to the beginning, the planning, and the aftermath. To help drive this narrative home, it had to be emotional for everybody to push for this. The fact that there was pushed for the quick and swift death penalty for Tyler Robinson is very evident that it was planned. And the fact that the prosecution and the lawyers aren't pushing to pause the case is questionable within itself. I don't know if his lawyers have been pushing anything on the fact that it is evident at this point that no round was shot or at least shot into Charlie's neck is questionable within itself. And the fact that after the fact, the push for Tyler Robinson to turn himself in, not by his father or his family, but from someone that works in the sheriff's office that knows the family. And the sheriff's office is to be questioned as well, because when Harple's on that interview and he's commending the sheriff's office, the very same that has been safeguarding the narrative, the very same that the sheriff within the sheriff's office pushed for Tyler Robinson to turn himself in, going off of video evidence that wasn't confirming who was the shooter or the person seen on camera. I think we really need to talk to Campus PD. The only people that we haven't heard from yet, but yet was being torn apart by Harple himself. I think we need to talk to them, because the campus, UVU people from UVU campus were pushing TPUSA to reconsider putting the event inside, but TPUSA insisted it was outside and used Charlie, who is clearly not a credible witness at this point for obvious reasons, and they blame him for that. No one in TPUSA is taking responsibility for the push for the event being outside. And I also am interested in seeing what's going on with the footage, because they said that they're going to be playing footage in court leading up to the event. This is getting tight. This is getting very tight, because we're not exactly running out of time, but the circle in which people are still pushing for the truth is getting smaller. People are getting the call. People are getting emotionally tied to the narrative, or emotionally tied to disproving a part of the investigation. I feel like I'm missing some, and I'm sure I am. So this is going to be a little chopped up video, but this is dire. And man, I can't even remember what I said last night in the clip. I'm bad at reviewing my stuff. I don't like listening to myself or rewatching myself. I also personally feel like it's a waste of time, because this is all time sensitive. You've got a man on trial for the death penalty who did not shoot Charlie Kirk, who may have been involved in the conspiracy, but I don't believe was even on campus. I feel like they might have had a few people that look like Tyler Robinson, including himself, walking around to throw this whole thing in different directions if need be. There was something else, and I just thought about it, and it slipped my mind. the importance of Fort Huachuca is so important for multiple reasons. Barron said it great, and I'll do him better on his analogy. If you were to the Butler, Pennsylvania one, because the JD one, yeah, but I'll do you one better. If Trump's wife, the night 2 days before, 2 days before the attempt on his life, that night is seen with an ex-boyfriend at a hotel. Not with her husband, but with an ex-boyfriend. After going on the record saying she hadn't dated anybody recently before marrying him. But it turns out that she dated someone, and she is seen at leaving a hotel with her ex-boyfriend. And then the next day, you're going to somewhere, and there's a building blacked out. And that ex-boyfriend is now walking out with the head of Trump's security team. So you have the ex-boyfriend of Trump's wife, the head of his security team, a bunch of high-ranking military leaving what looks like a briefing right before a mission. And then they go on the record with alibis to try to disprove that none of them were there. And then the next morning, he is shot. Or an explosive on his chest goes off and they lie and say he was shot. An explosive made by a company that is wiped off the face of the earth a month later. I'm out of coffee. It's time for I could have swore I had a cold one. Oh, you know what? I do have a cold one. I had put it in my jacket pocket on my way out the house this morning. If I can get to it. Okay. So let me break down why it also is important. If you were at base and it's irrelevant, like Barron said, why try to disprove it? Candace said it great too. Why try to disprove it? If it's irrelevant and it doesn't matter. If you're the wife of the deceased, I get that one maybe because it would not only implement that may or may not have been involved in the murder, but maybe it implement that you're having an affair on your husband. That's strange. So, yes, it would be weird because that would implement that you may or may not be having an affair with your ex-boyfriend. But it would also be weird that that very same ex-boyfriend is seen at a meeting the very next day with the head of security. Some top high-ranking military personnel in a disclosed location with blacked out windows. They pick up the guy who doesn't belong there and are interrogating him, thinking that he's a spy. Release him because they found out that he's irrelevant and just go on. He finds someone that's looking into this, into the assassination of someone. And it's weird that he's like, well, I've seen all these people. Some of these people were at the funeral. Well, these are the people that I saw here. That's weird. And it makes sense why they picked me up, because I may not have spoiled their or spying on their plan. And then you got the person who talks to him reporting, saying Harpool and some lady the night before is seen meeting with some guy and leaves, and that guy is at that meeting. She didn't even say that to begin with. All she said was a beautiful woman and a guy meet up in the lobby and leave in a green truck. The next morning, Harpool is seen at a military base, or not military base, at a meeting with a high-ranking military. Then the wife of the deceased, without any reason at that point, because she's not even being called out, goes on a stop campaign. That's why that matters. It matters so much right now to not let this go or dismiss it, because their reactions almost confirm, without saying it, that it matters. So, if there's more, I'll put it in this, but we'll stop there for right now.
Hey, I'm working, and I was just thinking about. Sorry, I was fixing my hair because I'm working, so it looks like wild. But back to the Mitch thing. I also want to add, most CIs, people who help police, get them information, are usually criminals. Most people that are let me rephrase this. It sounded better in my head. Most people that are giving information to police, they're secret snitches, for the lack of better words, right now, because the terminology is escaping me, are not, Boy Scouts. So it is very capable and possible that someone that was going to base to try to clear his name and get all this stuff sorted out, who has a pretty crap past, was the witness. So, look on that. Here's another clip, because I'm listening to Baron Coleman's super chats as I'm tearing this apart, but they were talking about Andrew Kovacs' tweets, and I just opened up a Twitter for my account, but so I don't really go on there, but I did just hear him read someone's comment about Andrew Kovac tweeting. And Kovac is tweeting a lot, but he said something about the murder rate and Doge. And I don't know if I've said it in any of the videos that I posted, but I know I've said it before. I'm a firm believer that Kovac may be being forced to say the things he does, or and he's kind of like in the position that Charlie was, where he's surrounded by the enemy, especially with the fact that Kovac was the one who reached out to Candace about a few things, like the Charlie being scared and warning her. But what if he posted those two things as a subliminal message saying that the Doge is a big factor. The Doge that Charlie wanted to conduct was a big factor in people being involved in the conspiracy. You take out the person who's ahead of everything, that's going to investigate all the corrupt money things that are starting to rise to the surface, and then all of a sudden all the money investigating, at least in-house, stops. And it would be a good reason for some of the people that are kind of being implemented in this, at least as far as TPUSA goes, because there's a lot of skeletons in those people's closets that we've been discovering in this investigation. So, you know, just a weird thought. But back to the video.
Oh, I just finished Barron's episode, and at the end, that tidbit about Cabot Phillips and his alibi is laughable. But at least we have one person on record denying that he was at Fort Huachuca, but not quite about the Erica thing. So maybe he wasn't at Fort Huachuca, or maybe he was. It does, just because he denies it doesn't mean it's not true. But oh please. Someone just drove by in their expensive lawnmower. But once I get home, because I was cleaning up the work site when I heard that part. I took a couple of screenshots. I'm gonna have to review it just to get a couple of more. I want to get a better screenshot, or maybe I'll go on to X and try to find his picture at the Publix or whatever grocery store, but more than likely Publix. It looks like it because of the green signs and stuff. But that's laughable. And even down to what Barron said, and then when he found out that Candace responded. I'm currently watching Coach Collins' video because it was titled that there was more that was revealed. So depending on what is in his video, I'll add it to this one, and then I'll have this up by either tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. Well, it's New Year's Eve, so maybe I'll wait a little bit later. Oh, someone's calling me. So that's my cue. Oh man, I didn't even finish getting through Coach Collins' video when we came across of Cabot Phillips' poor alibis. Pre-recording episodes, not even from in person in studio. God, facial hair gave you away, man. This is getting interesting. But that was what I wanted to say. But I wanted to also, because I'm home, and everybody that has been watching my videos, want to thank you. And I guess I need to start saying subscribe, like my videos. My name's Grizzly Patriot, but I wanted to give you guys a tidbit. Come here, boy.
I want to give you guys some pup love. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hey, Bishop. Bishop. Come here, boy. Come here. He's entertained by my neighbor's dogs. Come here. Come here. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. All right. Well, if this is the last thing I say on this video, have a happy New Year, everyone, and stay free. I keep looking over at this side of the screen, but the camera's over here, so sorry. It looks like I am cockeyed or something, but all right. Have a good one.
Hello and welcome back to Trigger Smart. I am out here at the range. I hope you guys appreciate this because it is freezing out here. And I'm going to be doing some testing. I'm going to be shooting. But here's the interesting part. I'm testing frangible ammo. So I had my source at 10, Jacques. I had him go out and check and see if he could find some frangible ammo. He was not able to find 30-06 frangible. There are World War II, like stockpiles of it and stuff like that. And there are some very rare companies that make it that you might be able to source. But he has a FFL and a business that regularly sources this stuff. And he couldn't find anything except 5.56. So today I'm shooting 5.56 frangible ammo. And we're going to be hitting several things. We're going to be testing on the rubber mat material. We're going to be looking at, obviously, our fruit, our water, cinder blocks, wood, and then, of course, our steel. Now, typically, we are going to expect that any hard surface like the cinder block and the steel are going to work properly with the frangible ammo. The real question is it going to work when we hit something softer? I also got some pork shoulders to test it out. They're about the size of a human neck for most people. And then I got this nice chunky ribeye over here. And I apologize for the shooting in the background if it's loud. But I have this nice ribeye here with a chunky bone in it. And we're going to see if we can get that frangible ammo to break on it. All right, guys, here we go. So I'm going to be shooting all these different items. Some are going to be with full metal jacket first of each item. And then we're going to do frangible rounds of Fiochis, each item. And then after we're done, then obviously we're going to compare the damage and that kind of stuff. The thing that's interesting is that based on the research that I've done, these frangible rounds will probably pass through just about everything, except maybe the cinder block and the steel. I'm actually really curious if it's going to stop in that bone on that beef, but we'll find out. And I'm shooting my 10.5 Stag Arms, has the Velo suppressor, and then of course we have our full metal jacket and our frangible rounds here. And we're going to start off with steel with non-frangible full metal jacket. And wood, full metal jacket. All right, now we're switching over to frangible. And we're going to shoot the steel first. And then we're going to shoot frangible at the wood. All right, next we're going to shoot at the infinity target, and that is the rubber mat material. And I highly recommend their targets. They're pretty awesome, but we're going to see if the frangible acts any different. So we're going to shoot full metal jacket first, 55 grain. Now frangible. Now I can see from here, the frangible rounds started breaking up more and there's more paint splatter. But I'm not sure if that's going to make a difference as far as the damage and stuff like that that actually happened. But let's go check it out. And I know you guys are probably jealous of how awesome I look. All right, so first, if you can see this here, this hit right here, this was the full metal jacket. And this hit right here, that's your frangible. So you can see some of the powder and stuff that came off of that. And then we come over here to the wood. This one right here, that's the full metal jacket. And that one there, that's the frangible. Let's check the back. And as you can see, they both came through. Frangible went right through the wood. No issues. And here was the full metal jacket here. And then the frangible here. And based on that hole, it looks like it just went straight through. There was no breaking up or anything when it hit that hard rubber. All right, so this is the fun part where I'm going to test my accuracy and see if I don't destroy my own cameras. So we're going to start off with full metal jacket on the left. So everything that I shoot right now is going to be full metal jacket on the left side. Let's see how it goes. cantaloupe. Pretty uneventful. All right, now let's go ahead and do our pineapple. All right, and now let's do the water. Okay, a little bit more eventful. Now, there are some benefits of frangible when it comes to home defense as well. Not, for over penetration and that kind of stuff, but some people say that it's not as effective. All right, now we're gonna go to frangible on the right side. First, we're gonna do our cantaloupe. Pineapple. And next we're gonna go to our water bottle. All right, let's clear and check it out. I'm shooting at about 50 yards. So my first impressions is that the full metal jacket did not cause as much damage as the frangible, but let's check this out. All right, so let's look at our entrance. This is with the full metal jacket. So pretty clean going in. That's our exit, right? That's that cavitation and that exit wound people talk about. All right, next we have our pineapple. And it's kind of hard to see there, but there's your entrance right there, right here. And again, this is full metal jacket. There's your exit, right? Pretty obvious. A lot of damage blown out the back. And the water bottle, you can kind of see the clean hole there. And then the back, of course, is blown out. Made a big mess. All right, now we're going to look at the frangible side. So what's interesting on the frangible, this is the entry wound. So definitely bigger, split it open. But now look at the exit. Almost identical. So that exit is almost identical. Then you have your pineapple. And now on this one, you can see that entry wound is bigger on the frangible. So it was already breaking up when it hit. Now I can't see any obvious residue or anything. I can't see any powder. Now look at the exit. Right? Pretty blown out. But again, I don't see any powder or anything. I'm looking in the wound and I don't see any traces of it like exploding into a powder. And I don't see any on the table. And then of course we have our pretty clean entry and broken out the back just like the other one. Okay, so now you saw what happens with the fruit, the steel, the rubber, and the water jugs and that kind of stuff. But now let's compare this to actual flesh and see if we can kind of replicate what may have happened and see if we can get, especially on the bone-in beef, see if we can get that to actually stop the frangible round and not have it blow the back out. But now we need to test out this frangible round on flesh, because if they're saying that it was a 30-06 frangible round, we need to see if any frangible round would work. In this case, it is 5.56, not exactly 1-to-1 with 30-06, but it's the same idea. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a pork roast, and some of you are going to say, why is the plastic still on it? Well, to me, that's almost kind of functioning like the skin, right? And plastic obviously tears and rips pretty easily when it's shot. So I want to kind of simulate how the skin kind of holds things together, right? It is elastic, it has some give, but I left that on for that reason. And then after that, we're going to shoot our roast that has a bone. And first we're going to shoot full metal jacket at the left pork roast. Now we're going to shoot frangible pork roast. All right, let's go check it out. By the way, this frangible ammo is $1 a round. All right, now remember, some of you were saying that it could have been like a 5.56 closer or some kind of pistol round or something. And I mean, look at this. All right, now this goes to show you what people are talking about when you can barely find or never see an entry wound. Look at that. You have the little plastic right there. That tiny little hole right there, right above my thumb. That's the entry. You can barely see it, all right? That's your exit. And you can see in this case, obviously there's some cinder block in it because the cinder block was right behind it. Blew that out. Now that's just with 5.56. That's not even a 30-06, which is significantly more powerful, all right? Now, look at the cinder block. Went straight through the front. Now let's see if it went through the back. Shattered the whole thing. Okay, now looking inside, you can see it destroyed everything, but it looks like it did not go all the way through. So it didn't go through the back, but it did crack the back. Okay, all right. Now we're looking at frangable, and you can see, similarly, very, very small entry wound. Now remember, these are like 22 size bullets against 5.56, 223, but very small on the inside. Let's see how the back looks. All right, now on the back of this, you can see it's still blown out, and there is some concrete from the cinder block in it, but you can see it still blew it out. So you would definitely see an exit wound. And then on this one, it did not go through the cinder block. It didn't even crack the cinder block, but it did take this chunk out here, right? But the frangible bullet has broken up down here. And you can actually see some pieces of it there. The frangible, when it hits something hard, it did break up. So now we're going to test it on this beef with the bone in it and see what happens. All right, now here's the grand finale. Is this 5.56 frangible ammo that we saw break up on the concrete block, is that going to hit the bone after going through the flesh that's about the same thickness as the human neck? And is it going to kind of break and explode on impact? Or is it just going to shatter the bone and then hit the block behind it? You're going to say this looks pretty thin and weak. Well, from the side, look at the thickness. That's about the same as those pork roasts, about the same as a human neck. So I'm going to shoot right through the lower part of it, and it's going to hit that bone in the back. And what we're trying to see is it going to go through the flesh and stop at the bone with the frangible round, or is it going to go through and hit the cinder block? And if you guys appreciate me doing this in the freezing cold, not like Jesse in heavy duty country wearing tank tops out in Texas, hit that like button. Looked like a pretty good shot. All right, make sure we're clear. All right, so here's what we have. Pretty sizable entry hole. Some pretty good damage, nice wound cavity. Come on the other side, and that was a pretty direct hit, right? That went straight through that bone. Blew out the side and went straight through the bone. And it wasn't an edge shot, right? So the hole's actually closer to the middle. And you can see that bone that's thicker than human vertebrae went right through it, blew it out. And it also made another big chunk out of that cinder block. All right, so what's the takeaway here? Well, we shot just about everything you could think of, hard and soft. Obviously, we have to look at the slow-mo, but I mean, frangible ammo, 5.56, 223, has less power, less foot-pounds of force hitting. It can be a fast round, and it is smaller, but in this case, it went straight through the bone, everything else. So I would say, even with a frangible 30-06, that has significantly more power at the 140 yards. I would say frangible is not going to make a difference. It's still going to blow his neck out. As always, guys, like, subscribe, and share this around, and I'll see you on the next one.